In 1897, 3 men set out on an ambitious mission to reach the North Pole in a hydrogen balloon, a feat never attempted before. But what began as a daring exploration quickly turned into a fight for survival in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. Stranded on drifting ice, facing unimaginable challenges, only one question remained. Would any of them make it out alive? This is the true story of the Andrée Balloon Expedition. If you're fascinated by tales of survival against the odds, make sure to like and subscribe for more incredible stories. Now let's dive into our today's story. As always, listen closely. You never know when this knowledge might save your life. Chapter 1: The Dream of Conquering the Arctic. In the late 19th century, the Arctic was one of the last great frontiers, a place of mystery and danger that had captured the imaginations of explorers for centuries. Among those captivated by its allure was Salomon August Andrée, a Swedish engineer and balloonist. Andrée was determined to make his mark on history by doing what no one had done before, reaching the North Pole by air. Despite having completed only 9 balloon flights, Andrée believed his innovative ideas could overcome the Arctic's challenges. He envisioned a journey by hydrogen balloon that would not only showcase Swedish engineering, but also secure Sweden's place in the annals of polar exploration. Andrée's balloon, named the Eagle, was designed to carry 3 men: Andrée himself, Niels Strindberg, a young physicist and photographer, and Knut Frankel, an experienced surveyor. The balloon, constructed in Paris from silk and treated to be waterproof, was a marvel of its time. Yet, from the start, the project was fraught with concerns, particularly about hydrogen leakage, a critical flaw that could prove disastrous in the harsh Arctic conditions. Driven by ambition and national pride, Andrée dismissed these warnings. The expedition was seen as a bold statement, a chance for Sweden to claim its place among the great explorers of the age. With the backing of the Swedish government and public, Andrée and his team were determined to succeed. On a fateful day in July 1897, the stage was set for their departure. The world watched with anticipation as Andrée and his companions prepared to embark on their daring journey. Little did they know, their quest to conquer the Arctic would soon turn into a desperate struggle for survival. Chapter 2: The Eagle Takes Flight. On July 11th, 1897, under the watchful eyes of the world, Andrée, Strindberg, and Frankel climbed into the gondola of the Eagle at Danes Island in the Svalbard archipelago. The balloon, a symbol of hope and ambition, strained against the ropes that held it to the ground. Despite concerns about its airworthiness, the atmosphere was charged with excitement and optimism. The men exchanged determined glances. They were about to embark on a journey that, if successful, would make history. As the ropes were cut, the Eagle began to ascend, slowly at first, then gaining altitude as it drifted northward into the Arctic sky. For the first few hours, the flight seemed promising. The balloon sailed over icy waters and snow-covered islands, its drag ropes skimming the surface below. The men were in high spirits, confident in their plan, and hopeful that their journey would be a success. But the Arctic had other plans. As the day wore on, the balloon began to show signs of trouble. The hydrogen leakage, a concern from the start, was worse than anticipated. The Eagle struggled to maintain altitude, dipping dangerously close to the jagged ice below. The crew had to jettison much of their ballast, essential supplies, food, and scientific instruments, in a desperate attempt to keep the balloon aloft. Despite their efforts, the situation grew increasingly dire. Strong winds battered the Eagle, pushing it off course and deeper into the unknown Arctic wilderness. After just 65 hours of flight and having traveled only around 500 kilometers, the balloon could no longer stay in the air. With no other option, Andrée and his crew prepared for an emergency landing. As the balloon descended, the men braced themselves for the unknown. They were about to face a challenge far greater than they had ever imagined. Chapter 3: Stranded on the Ice. The balloon crash-landed on a relatively flat stretch of drifting ice near the 82nd parallel. Miraculously, the men emerged uninjured, but as they scrambled onto the ice, the reality of their situation set in. They were stranded in the heart of the Arctic, far from any hope of rescue, with minimal supplies and no clear path to safety. The Eagle lay deflated and useless on the ice, a stark reminder of their failed mission. Andrée, Strindberg, and Frankel now faced a new challenge, surviving in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, with no one knowing where they were or if they were even alive. Determined to survive, Andrée believed they could reach safety by heading toward a known supply depot, though their maps were inaccurate and they had little idea of their actual location. Each day, they strapped on their sledges, which weighed around 400 pounds each, and struggled across the uneven, treacherous ice. The terrain was far more difficult than they had anticipated, with large cracks, pressure ridges, and deep snow slowing their progress to a crawl. The physical exertion was immense, and the men's health began to deteriorate rapidly. Strindberg, the youngest of the three, was the first to show signs of severe fatigue. Constant exposure to the cold and wet, combined with the lack of proper nutrition, began to wear him down. The men resorted to hunting seals and polar bears for food, but the effort only added to their exhaustion. As the days turned into weeks, their goal of reaching the supply depot seemed more distant with each passing day. The dream of conquering the Arctic had turned into a nightmare, a relentless battle for survival against the unforgiving environment. Chapter 4: The Final Struggles. Weeks passed, and the Arctic's brutal conditions pushed Andrée, Strindberg, and Frankel to their physical and mental limits. The journey across the ice had become a grueling test of endurance, and their focus shifted from reaching the supply depot to simply staying alive. Strindberg, who had shown signs of severe fatigue early on, was now gravely ill. His feet were badly frostbitten, and he was suffering from extreme exhaustion. Despite his determination, it became clear that he could no longer continue. In a heartbreaking moment, Andrée and Frankel realized they had to stop and care for him, knowing their chances of survival were dwindling. The Arctic offered no respite. The cold was relentless, and the physical toll on the men was devastating. Frostbite, snow blindness, and exhaustion were constant companions. Even basic tasks, like setting up their tent or preparing a meal, became monumental challenges. Their food supplies were nearly gone, forcing them to rely entirely on what they could hunt, mostly seals and the occasional polar bear. But even this proved increasingly difficult as their strength waned. On October 6, 1897, Strindberg succumbed to the harsh environment, passing away in his sleep. Andrée and Frankel, both physically weakened and emotionally devastated, buried Strindberg beneath a cairn of stones. They were now down to just two men, alone in the vast frozen wilderness. With Strindberg gone, Andrée and Frankel pressed on, but their situation was increasingly dire. Frankel, who had been one of the fittest members of the team, began to suffer from severe leg pain and fatigue. The relentless cold and the near-starvation diet took their toll, and he too grew weaker with each passing day. In late October, Frankel likely died in his sleep, inside the tent they had shared without his boots or mittens on, a sign that he had succumbed to the cold while resting. Andrée, the last remaining member of the expedition, was now completely alone. Weakened and despairing, Andrée faced the final leg of his journey alone. He was found later, sitting against a rock, his gun and a few morphine tablets nearby. It is believed that Andrée, realizing he had no chance of rescue and unwilling to face a prolonged, painful death, may have taken his own life. The dream of conquering the Arctic had ended in tragedy, with all three men lost to the unforgiving environment. Their final days were marked by unimaginable suffering and a battle against an environment that refused to show mercy. Chapter 5: The Tragic Legacy. It wasn't until 1930, 33 years after the Andrée Balloon Expedition vanished, that their fate was uncovered by a Norwegian sealing expedition on Kvitoria, White Island, in the Arctic. The team found the remains of Andrée, Strindberg, and Frankel, along with their well-preserved campsite and personal belongings. The recovered diaries and photographs provided a haunting glimpse into their final days. They revealed a story of relentless cold, starvation, and a desperate struggle for survival. The last entries reflected a grim acceptance of their fate, showing the toll that the Arctic had taken on them. When their bodies were returned to Sweden, they were honored as national heroes. However, the circumstances of their deaths raised lingering questions. The diaries suggested exhaustion, exposure, and possibly trichinosis from eating undercooked polar bear meat. It's also believed that Andrée may have chosen to end his life rather than face a slow, agonizing death. The Andrée Balloon Expedition remains a powerful tale of ambition and tragedy, highlighting the dangers of exploration in the unforgiving Arctic. Although their dream ended in failure, the courage and resilience of Andrée and his companions are a testament to the human spirit. We hope you found the story of the Andrée Balloon Expedition as compelling as we did. This tragic tale of ambition, survival, and the harsh realities of Arctic exploration serves as a powerful reminder of the human spirit's relentless pursuit of discovery, even in the face of insurmountable odds. If you're intrigued by more similar stories, subscribe to our channel and check out these two incredible survival stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay strong.